Now, I know a lot of you might be upset with me, but I want to apologize for ending the show early. And also, I'm going to be taking a break. Now if I can do this. At 9:54 this morning, my dad passed away. And I will stumble and fall. So I want to dedicate this show to him. Shit. Just starting to crawl. For the word, for the lettering or the meaning of the word parents, he did everything that a father should do. He taught me how to tie a tie. He taught me how to tie my shoes. Showed me how to ride a bike. He taught me how to be a man. At 9:54, just will swallow my pride. You're the one that I love. I'm saying goodbye. And I saw an unknown call, and I thought it was a telemarketer. But come to find out, it was the nurse telling me he passed away. I'm going to take a small break and fly back to Arizona soon. And on Tuesday, he will be rejoined with my mom. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight and have this moment with me. And I'm reading the prayers and the love as I'm going on with this. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and I appreciate those messages. And Dad, I thank you for everything. This one's for you, Pop. Let's go, Giants! Oh! Let's go, Giants.
What's up, everybody?
Ow!
Hey, listen, I normally hate the Giants, but there are some times when life trumps sports, and I want to give my deepest and most heartfelt condolences to Sneaky G and his family on the passing of his father. I love Sneaky G, and Sneaky G is like family to me, even though he is a Giants fan, and it's our passion for our fandom is what brings us close together. And when one hurts, we all hurt. So I just want to give my deepest condolences, and my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family during this time. I love you, brother. Stay strong. And then if you need anything, just give me a holler. I'll be right there. Go Birds. Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
I wanted to start off with that. I typically you'd see that at the end of a show, but because Sneaky is such an integral part of the show, and unfortunately he's not going to be here this evening because of the passing of his father, I wanted to say on behalf of the show that we offer our deepest sympathies and condolences to him and his family again. Of course, it's funny because Chris, our the other Washington guy that comes on, he just lost his father too, and it's never a simple thing when you're losing a parent, and as much fun as we have on this show, life is always going to trump sports.
That's right.
So, um, so I wanted to be able to kind of start off with that, and I know that I kind of speak for us that we really, uh, our thoughts and prayers are with you, Sneaky, during this time.
Sending lots of strength his way. Great job there with that, Pegs, by the way.
Yep, very,
Thank you.
very much so.
So, in the meantime, football has started.
Yeah,
we are underway. We are underway,
Yep.
and it's that time. Uh, I'm going to start off with you because you guys have been in camp for a little over a week already. What's going on down there in Dallas?
It's the whole week has gone by. Of course, Dak has been throwing the ball more than usual. He has a little strain in the shoulder, the throwing shoulder, so they did some tests, and of course, he's just going to do a little bit of recovery, little physical therapy. I'm taking it from what I'm reading on the reports, which is good because he hasn't been throwing all year, then just comes out a whole week and just been throwing 50 balls, 60 balls plus in practice, and then throwing everywhere, and then all the other physical activity that he's got going on. So, but other than that, defense is looking good. Everybody's looking good. Next week, first game, a Hall of Fame game.
You guys play Pittsburgh up there, right?
That's right, up in Canton.
Gotcha. You're all excited to go.
Oh yeah, getting excited for that one. I mean, I know nobody's going to play except one or two snaps, but it's going to be good to see the football team along with the crowd. That's that's going to be the fun part.
Are we going to see a crowd?
Yeah.
Is Delta variant not going to show its face?
I don't know, but I mean, tickets have been sold. Everything's been sold.
Not in my face.
Yeah.
I mean, the Phillies were canceled today. The game was canceled today because somebody from Washington wound up catching it.
Yeah.
This is the disease that just doesn't want to go away. It's like herpes.
I think
Lamar
Jackson tested positive for the Ravens.
Who's that?
Lamar Jackson.
The quarterback?
Yeah.
Didn't he have it last year?
I don't remember. I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did.
Did he have it last year, or was he just in the vicinity of?
Yeah, it's hard to remember. There was
I
so
don't
much.
remember. I can't keep up with all this stuff, but
it's just like because I know that Frank Reich had it.
Yep, from the Colts.
Yeah, from the Colts. This is the second year in a row that Carson Wentz is, starting training camp without a coach.
Yeah, first season wasn't so bad, but now getting in with the new team and the new everything, I mean, he'll be back. I think these guys, I mean, it's going to be sticking around. It's got to be treated, as what it's going to be treated as. But as far as facilities, everybody else, we'll see what the Players Association has to say. We'll see what the NFL Owners Association has to say. It's going to be a little, I think with the statements that were put out last week about the mandatory or, with the coaches from Minnesota being, I don't know if it was terminated or.
He left on his own accord.
He left on his own, yeah.
And there was one more coach that I believe left on his own.
New England lost the coach too. Yeah. It's not confirmed that it was because of this, but it's suspected that it was.
Right.
So I guess let's start there because that was really the big thing that came out that, Roger Goodell, said, hey, if all the coaches got to get it. Anybody that we are able to control, we're going to make sure that they have to get this vaccine.
Coaches, front office, equipment, people, everybody, right? Tier 1.
Correct.
Right.
So they don't mandate that the players get it. However, if you get COVID, and you were not vaccinated and you got to cancel the game, bad on you. And both sides ain't getting paid. Now, I don't know how I agree with that part. The both sides not getting paid.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the other side should get paid, and if you're gonna penalize somebody for whatever financial ramifications there are for a cancellation, then why wouldn't paying the other team be part of it?
Well, and that's kind of the thing here, because ultimately, I guess they're saying, well, neither team's going to get paid because there wasn't any fans in the stands, and that's a loss of revenue. So that's kind of why I would assume that that's being done like that. After thinking about that a little bit more, it's like, well, maybe you should have the other team pay for it. I mean, it's a salary cap. It's a salary cap. So there's a certain level there's a certain amount of salary that's got to get paid for the players. And that would be your fine. That would be your fine on the team. I don't know.
I think there's going to be some stuff that comes out on whatever side it may be, from the NFLPA or the Owners Associations. There's going to be some headbutting going on, but I think somewhere along the way this is going to find its way to a court.
Oh, without a doubt. And then the other thing that I think of is that what happens, you got vaccinated, and now you've got COVID again. You caught COVID anyways. And because of that, you're now, because there's not a contingency in that respect.
Well, there is, from reading what the NFL statement put out last week when they put that out. It was actually, if you're non-vaccinated, you have a quarantine day of 10 days or something like that. If you're vaccinated, if you test clear 24 hours twice, so 2 tests within 48 hours, 24 hours apart, then you're good to go back.
I thought it was 2 tests in 24 hours. Is it over 2 days?
It's over 2 days.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be where it's going to be a little squeamish on whoever takes that up.
Well, it'll become a political football. I mean, obviously, you already got guys speaking out. Cole Beasley, who's already, very.
I mean, you got plenty of players speaking out on it from both sides, and I mean, you've got retired players, you've got current players, you've got everyone speaking out.
Well, Ron Rivera's in a little pissing match with TJ Ward, because they're very frustrated because 40% of the Redskins have been vaccinated, and he's very susceptible because of his cancer treatments last year have hurt his immune system. So
correct.
And now, and TJ Ward has just got to shut up. I mean, you can't say that, he's blaming players for all the bad choices he made in his life that caused him to get cancer. I mean, Jesus, stop.
Yeah. And you got to remember.
Did he say that? Did he say that?
I'm paraphrasing that. Yes, he's blaming players for all the bad choices he made in his life and he got cancer.
You got to remember when we first started having this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and we were discussing the how it should be approached. I said, from a standpoint of the NFL teams, either the NFL teams come out and say, hey, we stand together, we all take it, or we stand together, it's our choice. It's nobody's business what they do in our realm, and sportscasters and news analysts, they all want to make it a story. They want to make a story out of a non-story, so just to keep it up front. I don't know. I mean, people do what they want. Teams can do what they want. This is a league.
Yeah, they're running a business, right? They can do what they want, really.
Correct.
Well, speaking of doing what they want, I want them to extend the preseason and bring these guys in for longer to give them more conditioning. I'm beginning to believe, well, I believe for a while now, but I think that again, we're going to see a lot of injuries happening. This is going to be a 17 game season this year. It's going to get worse. And ultimately, you know, the fact that these guys are not allowed to even be in camp for at all. They're not allowed to do any type of training, mandatory or like involuntary or whatever. It's like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that it's being mandated like that. And I know that this is the NFLPA trying to gain some of their things, but they're gonna wind up losing that. They're gonna
Yeah.
wind up they need to lose that actually. They need to start figuring out they gotta be like, okay, we need to get paid more, you know, get an extra percent, but get extra time in the air. Whatever. I don't know. But it's starting to become ridiculous that these guys can't practice even. And I'm
Well,
sure they don't even want to practice, but
is it the time, Pegs, really the time that they have to practice, or is it the fact that when they practice, they don't ever hit anybody until they get to games as a rule? I mean, that's part of the problem in my mind.
right.
They're not.
Yeah, I've seen from this past week. I've seen my Dallas Cowboys. They're making contact when they were without pads and when they're with pads, and they're making more contact than I've seen. And then, of course, Mike McCarthy came out and spoke about it, how the 90s were outdated and he has nowhere to speak because, that was a thing of the past. And he's talking about just, as crazy as this sounds, 30 years ago.
What?
Not making contact. Yeah, so he's talking about maybe, just as far back as 1990, that these guys were making physical contact and pounding each other. And again, that's when most of the best football that we've seen here recently in these past decades was in the 90s.
The play was better and the players were healthier.
Yep. Because
I mean, yeah,
they
there
were
was
prepared more.
Yeah, there was a couple of major injuries with the MCL, ACL.
They're going to have that though.
But the ones that stayed away were the strains, the hamstrings, the calves, those types of functioning, whatever you want to call it, injuries where these guys are,
stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where that's where they're more susceptible to anything. I mean, these guys are out there, they're grown men, they're running half speed, and then all of a sudden they want to run full speed, and their body's telling them, nope, it's not happening. And you see these guys on the sideline. I mean, this week I had my favorite guy, number 90 right now, DeMarcus Lawrence. He's out there and he's on ropes, trying to fix his hamstrings and his legs, make sure everything's good for him and his lower back. I mean, that's just what you're seeing now. It's becoming more and more obvious of what's going on.
So just because you've gotten the most time in camp so far, what have you seen from Dak?
Oh, I've seen good. I mean, he's doing what he needs to do right now, and I think, like I was saying, his arm is a little bit tired from throwing the ball as much as he has. Even though right now we have 4 quarterbacks in camp, I think they just want to see what he's got going on. He is throwing picks. Our secondary is stepping up to the plate. They are playing better defense. I mean, it's spread defense. It's just practice. It's nothing much. It's nothing to be shying away from. But the throws have been there. I mean, I'm seeing these guys run full speed routes, not 3/4, not half. I'm seeing these receivers do things that they would be doing during game days, reaching out, jumping, falling on their shoulders, with pads, without pads. CeeDee Lamb's over there running around like, he's going to catch the next touchdown. And, of course, what I couldn't believe was Michael Gallup going for that long pass. I don't know if you guys saw that. But he's going for the pass in the end zone, and the ball gets overthrown a little bit, and here he goes running to a fence and flips over it and falls knees first right onto the dirt. And it wasn't it doesn't look bad, but when you flip over a fence that shouldn't be there, it's not fun.
Right.
After running full speed. So, I mean, that's what I was relating to a friend of mine earlier when he showed me that again, and I was like, yeah, $5 billion organization with a $2 fence.
Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. Way to go, Dallas. Only the best. Only the best. He's got the good fences on his yacht.
Yeah, it looks like, I get it. It's to keep the spectators back. It's to do everything else. But you know what? From my standpoint, nobody should be on that side. There should be no viewing areas. It's remove the fence and let these guys set new standards for where people can be at. Let's not hurt our players. And I'm sure that was an oversight, thinking, okay, that's there. Well, it's kind of like baseball when new things get the nets in the stadium and the stands get put out there, and you got players running full speed, not realizing the nets are now there, so that the fans don't get hit by the baseball running right into it. So
yeah, but
it's just one of those
nets aren't going to hurt you.
No, well, it could, but not like a fence would.
Right. Yeah, the fence is not moving. The net's going to give a little bit of give, and it's like mesh. So you might get caught up in there like a fish, but which would be hysterical because I haven't seen that yet. But
I've seen it in the minors.
That's kind of funny. Like if you jump up in there and then you wind up getting your cleat caught up in there, that'd be awesome. But
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So I'm actually hoping that they keep that fence there, and a couple of other your receivers forget that it's there, and they overthrow a lot. And
I'm sure they're doing something already about that. Either there's no longer going to be drills ran that way going into the end zone, or it's no longer going to be thrown that far.
Gotcha. Maybe a coach there just saying, "Hey, stop."
Yeah. Again, we've got 4 arms. 4 quarterbacks back there throwing the ball, so it's going to be interesting coming down this.
Who are the 4 arms?
We have Cooper Rush, Gilbert, Dak, and Danucci.
Oh, Danucci's still there.
Yeah, he's
they
still
brought
there.
him back from the pizza parlor.
Yeah, he's still there.
Right,
Did we find out if he was Dominic Danucci's son, the wrestler?
I wouldn't think so, but I'm not going to put it past it.
I
don't even know who Dominic Danucci is.
It's from way back. It's from
way
the back. I'm in my way back machine again. As
better you than me. So yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, I've been keeping up with the Steelers as well. The Steelers, because that's going to be, of course, our first game, and the Steelers have had the same amount of time as we have, but there's a lot of pressure on Big Ben over there for him to be putting out, they're not really showing too much, which surprises me. They're showing a lot of sideline reporting, but they're not actually showing the film, whether it's on NFL Total Access or any other of the syndications that are out there. But I'm just not seeing a lot, so it's going to be interesting when we see them next week to see how they come out.
Big shout out to our Eagles fans all the way in Sydney, Australia. I know Mario out there. Mario is got a hold of me back. He's an Eagles fan through and through, all the way in Sydney, Australia.
There you go. Good day, mate.
They don't put shrimp on the Barbie, so we found that out. It's crawfish.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did you guys see? Or I don't know if you guys saw, but NFL Fox Instagram puts out the if your team was your rival's colors. So of course
I did not see that.
Yeah, of course they put the star in green and they put the Eagles in blue. and they put, it is just a mix array, and it's just, I'm like, the star looks like University of North Texas with the Eagles colors, and
oh god, yeah.
It's just to get, to stir up the little bit of fans that are out there anxious to get things going as far as the season's concerned.
Well, I will tell you what got me going was the fact that whoever was the writer of USA Today saying that the Eagles were going to go 3-14. I got a
I
I
read
got
that.
yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? 3-14. Here's what I got for you.
I think I, I think I think it's because he reports out of the Washington D.C. area. So
Well,
that's what.
but he had Washington coming in second.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But he's in the D.C. area,
He
so
had
he's still.
Dallas. He had Dallas going 10-7,
Yeah.
and the Eagles at 3-14. I think second worst in the conference, fourth worst in the league.
Yeah. Who do you guys have as far as last in the league right now? As far as is it still Jacksonville?
I think Jacksonville's going to win some games. I really do.
More than five?
Uh,
I
five,
would say
maybe
the five.
six.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think because they lost a lot of games last year by one score.
Yeah.
So I the coaching the that when you lose that many games by that close a score, I blame that on coaching.
Okay.
So the fact that they got a college coach in there now, I don't know about that, but
Yeah, Urban Meyer. He's going to do. I think he's going to. Now, whether he's going to get more than five, I'm right there with Keith. That's a little questionable. I mean, first time. Well, not the first time, but it's going to be the first, with Jacksonville. But
I mean, this
so
isn't going to be this isn't a long term plan. He's Urban Meyer. I think will do okay, but he's not going to stick around long. So
yeah, I think he.
soon, not this year, obviously, but they're going to want to win quickly.
Yeah, doing the grooming thing. I think.
Yeah.
To get another coach in there.
so I'm like on board with like Houston being the worst. I also think I don't think Cincy. I think Cincy's going to be better than people think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I definitely too. Joe Burrow's coming back, and he's got that receiver.
Yeah, Joe Burrows. Joe Burrows is the real deal.
He is.
If he's
I
not
think
hurt,
the Lions could challenge for the worst record too.
I agree with that. I agree with the Lions part.
And the Jets could be much better and not win a lot more games, but they could be much better. They'll be competitive, but I still think they're going to lose a bunch of games.
Yeah, again, I think that they're another year away yet before they start to really gel.
Yeah.
I think that Miami takes a step backwards.
Really?
I know they made a lot of moves and stuff like that, but
Well,
I am not a Tua fan, and I think that they have pigeonholed themselves. They've painted themselves into a corner, and they're going to live and die by that. And I think that.
Speaking of painting themselves in the corner, their cornerback is wanting a trade. Their best cornerback is wanting a trade. And he's wanting to come to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, is that going to happen? Well, this is the NFL. Anything could happen, but I think as far as what's going to be given up, they're talking a first rounder and a third rounder. And I'm just like, I don't see Jerry giving that up. I wouldn't give that up. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with the secondary that I've got. So it'll be interesting to see
I'm comfortable with them too because they didn't really stop much last year.
Oh, no, we didn't. We didn't. I admit it. We didn't stop anything. I mean, we had 55, 59, over 20 yards over our heads.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Oh, I agree. Yeah, and it was, again, it was the defense. It was the coach, and it was Mike Nolan. And we all know it. At least I know it.
Well, I think it was that whole coaching staff. I'm not a fan of your coach. I never was a fan of your coach, and I think that he sucks. So, and I you know what?
Still the tape is going to come out.
The very first press conference said it all for me. He couldn't even put on a jacket that fit him. That thing, he looked like a hot dog in its casing.
Yeah, I've
You
been
know,
there
like,
before.
like he was like holding it in as best as possible, not to have that bust, that thing to burst.
Yeah,
He kind of looked like Farley. What's his name?
Chris
Yeah,
Farley.
Chris Farley.
I
yeah.
think
And
he can coach better than Chris
again, okay,
Farley.
I'm gonna make the excuse of because of all the stuff that he entered into. First season on a new team with all the restrictions placed on all the players and the coaching staff and being away and no interactions. It's a total different game this year. I mean, I'm seeing these coaches hands on. I mean, like Dan Quinn is out there with the gloves on, literally getting in the guys' faces, showing them the hand techniques, showing them these guys how to move through. I mean, I think last year was a dud. It was, and I don't think you're going to see that this year.
You know
No.
what? He's got a Super Bowl ring, and you don't get those. They don't give them to you just for showing up. So he's got to be able to coach a little bit.
Just a little. Yeah, like I said, it'll be,
Unless you're Barry Switzer, he might have got one just for showing up. But
yeah, well, you surround yourself with the coaching staff that we've got. I mean, it'll be interesting because there's plenty of people around there that will like to be head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
yeah,
Well, and they
And,
may have their chance after this year.
well, here's an even more interesting tidbit. You did hear Jerry Jones this week speak of Troy Aikman and little GM going around. So I don't know. Maybe he can speak that to truth. I don't know.
you think Troy Aikman wants to work as the GM for the real GM of the Cowboys?
I would say he would. I mean, you have to remember. I mean, of course they worked together previously, but you don't just put something out there like that if you wouldn't want it. If you wouldn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
So him saying he would like to be the GM of the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones saying that he can see himself hiring him. I don't want to say that's actually what he said, but
Is he going to be the GM, though, is my question, when Jerry Jones is the GM of that team?
well, I don't.
No,
I'm just here to cheer for him.
For a
Now-
better
now-
or worse.
no, I'll be honest with you. If that was to happen, that would be the first step in Jerry handing it off to his kids.
Yeah, maybe so.
That's how that would go, because I think that he would trust Troy Aikman more than his son.
I don't.
Again,
I don't know.
I don't know enough about the inner workings of the Dallas Cowboys, but I do know that Jerry Jones is the Dallas Cowboys right now, and because of that, that's the reason why they haven't won. You know what I mean? So, after 25 years, he's got to hear it in his ears. He's got to hear it.
Yeah, he hears it.
They're the most storied franchise, in professional sports, blah, 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 blah. Not 25 years, not winning a championship, going realistically the last 25 years and winning only 3 playoff games. That starts to wear on somebody who's got a really big ego. It's like hearing for 51 years that, hey, we ain't got no rings. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, those jokes end. You know what I mean? In that 52nd year, those jokes are starting to get tired. They're starting to wear on him a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you heard him in the press conference this week, or when it kicked off last Thursday, I mean, it went to the statement of what he wouldn't give to win another championship. Everyone realized that he's 78 years old.
He should take a step back.
Yeah, he wants another one.
Get it.
Yeah, and
Right,
I think
so-
that's the realization. It's just when you're out in the real world, and whether it's with your kid or one of your employees, you want to make everybody better around you, but at the same time you still want to burden a little bit of the load, and he's burdened a lot of the load the past 25 years, and I think he's finally, it's just a little glimpse. I don't know. I'm just saying off what I'm seeing. Maybe he realizes, hey, maybe some outside help could help us win a championship, and I think there's a lot of wisdom behind that man. There really is. I mean, you don't get rich like that for no reason and successful like that. I understand the last 25 years aren't the best, but I look at what he does as a person and as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and I see it and I appreciate it. But again, there's a lot of wisdom behind that man, and I think he's seen a little bit of what he might have to do in order to win that next championship.
Yeah, he's good at making money if he wants to win championships, so he probably ought to let somebody else take the lead on the football team.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that you've tried it for 25 years. You tried to do it because you got that first championship because you brought in a real football guy, and that real football guy made an incredible trade that set your franchise up and running right when you got it. Right when you got it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It was like you guys went from Tom Landry. I don't even know. Like, I know that you had a couple of those weirdo coaches, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you went
Landry to Johnson.
Yeah, it went from Landry to Johnson, and then you had the little roly poly guy after Johnson. After
that was
Switzer.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, after Switzer.
Dave Campos.
Yeah, oh my God, that's goofy. Yeah, like I said, you knew exactly who I was talking about too.
I Bill Parcells when you said little roly poly.
No, it was Dave Campo. and again, it was one of those situations, and I've always felt that there's just some coaches that are better coordinators than head coaches because they can keep focused in on their activities, what they've got isolated as a defensive line coach, a secondary coach, an offensive line. Bill Callahan, one of the best lineman coaches ever. I mean, you see where he's at now. He's over there in Cleveland, is he not? And I mean, you look at the type of offensive lineman this man builds. But when he was head coach over there at one of these, I mean, he couldn't pull it off.
Those Super Bowl winning Cowboy teams are a perfect example with Wanstead and Norv Turner.
Correct.
Perfect example.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that way. I mean, there are some coaches, that can step up and become, or, some coordinators that can step up to be head coaches. There are some. But it's a unique position. You got to get ready to take on everybody's, you got to hear it from all sides before you can accomplish anything. And there's just some coaches that can and some that can't.
I remember when they hired Jimmy, from Miami. And I remember listening to a interview with him, and he was married. He had a wife when he was in Miami.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said was, "Hey, I just got the Dallas Cowboys job, and you ain't coming with me." Like he literally like divorced his wife because he's like, "That's it. I'm doing my own thing now because I got a plan." He got rid of the woman, and I'm not saying that the woman would have held him back, but like it was like literally he's like, I'm focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's winning in the NFL. And literally he went there, and took his lumps pretty hard because he went 1-15 that first year. You know what I mean? And literally, got the Herschel Walker trade that set you guys up for a while, and then literally in 3 to 4 years built the dynasty that was the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s.
Yep.
And that took a plan in place. That definitely had a plan to be able to make that happen. You know what I mean? And the wife wasn't involved in that plan. As funny as that sounds.
Well, again, there's coordinators and there's coaches, and he was a coach.
Right.
That's one of those decisions that he made. And I mean, you heard Mr. Jones speak, very nice of Jimmy the other day about, what happened in that relationship and how it went south and how much he regrets it. And I hear Michael Irvin, saying how we could have had 4 straight, in which we could have. It was just one of those situations where it just didn't pan out. And we've all been there, whether it's with a coworker or a boss, where we screwed up at the time or they screwed up at the time. We got all heated and bothered about it, and we walked away. And then it took us years to finally reconcile or even just say hi to the person. So we've all been in that situation. This was a little bit more on film, so it had its value for the people to see. But again,
Right.
it's one of those things. After so many years of not being in the NFC Championship and everything, realizing at the age and just saying, hey, this is what I have to do to win. This is what I'm going to have to do.
You know what? Sometimes cutting your nose off to spite your face does not work. And Jerry, the troller. 'Cause how much he trolled me. You know how much I love that. You know how much I'm ready to jump on his boat when I come down there. So
you're probably going to have to find it in Florida or
well,
Cali or California.
I'll figure it out. I'm gonna drop a whole bunch. I'm gonna drop a whole bunch of Eagles poop on the boat.
It's probably I'm going to say that boat is. I'm just guessing here. It's probably outside the coast of California right now.
It could be anywhere, as far as I'm concerned. I don't keep track of where he's at. I just know that when I come down there for Monday Night Football, I'm going to see if I can get up into his box. Be like, hey, I got a magazine for you there, Jerry.
Yeah, man, that Monday night's going to be awesome. The Eagles doing the whole weekend. You're getting there Saturday, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Saturday, and then I think it's. I initially thought it was going to be Saturday was the show. I think it's going to be Sunday. I haven't been able to work out all the details yet, but because not only that, I think it's going to be. I mean, Sneaky does his truce show, and he does it with 2 Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
So you guys may outnumber me 3-1, but I could take you.
I don't. The other day I had some questions. It was funny. I was gonna send you a text, and I had a couple of people asking me, not Cowboys fans, just different fans that want to go to Philly to go watch their team play the Eagles. And they were like, how concerned should I be going into that stadium? And I'm like, it's a football stadium. I said, if anything, stay away from the bar next door after the game.
Yeah, Xfinity Live. Do not go into Xfinity Live. See, it'll depend. Like if it's a Chiefs fan, nobody's going to really mess with Chiefs fans because we don't see them all the time. You know what I mean? Tampa Bay fans, that's a little bit more sketchy.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more sketchy. Dallas fans, like I said, I was there to make sure that nobody touched you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As
and
best
that's what
as
I
I
saying.
can.
It's funny, when you go to these stadiums, how everyone acts and everything like that. And I say you just got to find the right people to hang out with. Make sure that they're fans of football before they're, because there are some places you can get, but that's any stadium. That is any stadium, and that's what I try and tell people. It's any stadium that can happen at. So
right, yeah.
I was just laughing at the whole situation.
Yeah, and I'm like all trying to figure out, like, okay, like I'm going with Captain Jack.
Yeah, Raiders
in the middle of the black hole, in the middle of the black hole, and I don't know if you were there for that one meeting that we had of Superfan meeting.
No,
it was the Superman. It was a Superfan Zoom meeting, and they all thought that they were the loudest fans.
Well, I'm going to say this about the black hole. Those are some of the nicest people. I don't care what anyone tries to say on how, tough and rough. And those are some of the coolest people. They're football fans just like everyone else. Their characters are what makes it really cool. I mean, it's it's one of those things where they look mean because they have to fit the part, but they're some of the nicest people.
Well, and I agree with that. It's really not them that I'd be concerned about. When you were out in Oakland, the other Oakland fans, it wasn't the people.
Yeah.
It wasn't the black hole super fans that were the problem.
It was the
rest
athletic
of the
fans.
right. Yeah, it was the Oakland people. that
Yeah,
really
some
caused the
bad,
biggest.
some bad stuff has happened to fans in the Bay Area, whether it's been in San Francisco, but this is mostly dealing with baseball, not so
Yeah,
much
baseball.
football. Yeah,
It's a blood war for crying out loud.
yeah, that it is. That's why I'm leading with that. It's one of those things, and that's what I mean. That's what makes the football fans more unique. Is that the tailgating, the camaraderie, just saying, "Hey, what's up?" I mean, the trash talking's there, but that's what fun is. But yeah, if you're going there as a baseball fan, be very careful.
So you know what? If you were to rank the most passionate fan bases through passion alone, what would be your top five?
Man,
Is it through just rooting for their team no matter what, or can they be able to boo their team and they're still?
Yeah, well, yeah, the
yeah,
amount of
I don't know about that
show,
booing part. I don't know
the
about that
amount
booing
of
part.
passion, the amount of passion that they express.
Because I would give the Phillies or the Eagle fans some love there, but they will tend to boo their own people too.
Right. Well, no, but I think that that's part of the passion. So it's
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah. See
Um,
that I mean, I will never ever boo my team. I will never ever.
me. I'm that same way. So
no, me either.
I'm not a
Me
boo
either.
guy.
But see, I've been in stadiums where the New Orleans Saints teams booed their own. They booed at home. They booed their own team, and I'm sitting there like the Saints
Yeah.
fans are booing them. And that was kind of shocking. Of course, the Detroit Lions they booed their own team. The New England Patriots booed their own team.
For years,
Yeah,
even when they were good.
yeah.
I would say my five would be. I'll give you my five right now.
There you go.
Eagles, Packers, gets tough. Bills. Yeah, I don't know enough about the Cowboys, but I got to put the Cowboys in there, and the Vikings.
I'm
That'll be
I
my
would
five.
say, yeah. I'm gonna exclude the Vikings. There are plenty of fans, but I'm gonna have to throw the Chiefs in there.
Yeah, that's a good one too. No, that's
The
a really
Chiefs,
good one too.
yeah, the Chiefs are very passionate about. I don't know how they're gonna feel this year because now they have banned the chop and the attire. So
Yeah, it's getting weird.
yeah, I don't know how they're gonna feel about that. And I mean, I don't know how you can stop a crowd from cheering like that.
They're gonna do what they're gonna do. What are you gonna do? Throw them all out?
Yeah, exactly. So.
Exactly. So in my case,
Who's yours?
I the Eagles, obviously, because I feel like that not only that, but we also travel really, really well. I also put the Seahawks in there, that they have a really strong fan base. The Chiefs,
More
I
so
would,
since they started winning, though, the Seahawks.
yeah, I can't really put them in that mix. I put New Orleans in there because they are a really passionate fan
Yeah.
base, especially after the hurricane. The hurricane kind of
Yeah.
really solidified them in there. I would almost say the Packers. The problem with the Packers is that they are fair weather. They are really fair weather people. They really are. When their team ain't doing so hot, they are really less passionate about it. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
They supported a team and kept it in a community as big as I think the stadium holds more people than the community holds. And through a lot of bad years, they supported that team, or that team would have moved away.
yeah, and I think from that standpoint of what Billy's talking about is that the fan base there, you are correct in that how split they are. I mean, you look at this whole Aaron Rodgers situation. Half of them wanted him out, the other half were saying bringing him back. I mean, they're showing. I'm seeing videos of Packers fans arguing with each other.
He's walked into a mess now of his
Oh,
own. Both in,
oh yeah.
Then don't forget the locker room too, right?
Oh.
So,
But go ahead, Jamie. What you were speaking about?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you have those three. I'm half on board with Denver. I think that Denver's got to, and then the Raiders. You know, I think that the Raiders nation out there, like when I see fan bases that extend well beyond the norm, like I know that the Cowboys are in that mix. You know what I mean? But the Cowboys, you know, the Cowboys are there's like that most of the people that live in Dallas, and then you have like they're cockroaches in Philly. Dallas Cowboys fans in Philly are cockroaches because they try to have the Philly attitude, but be a Dallas Cowboys fan. That's what makes them cockroaches. You know what I mean? Because all they are Philly haters, and they just chose, you know, because they were born in the 80s and that, you know, the winning team in the 90s was the Cowboys. You know what I mean? That's what happens. That's what happens. They become Philly haters. And what's the best way to hate Philly? Be a Cowboys fan. So, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, except the fact just don't give me that attitude like you're all high and mighty being a Cowboys fan. There ain't no reason for you to be a Cowboys fan at all. You know what I mean? So
There's plenty of reasons.
the only the other honorable mention would be maybe the Steelers. The Steelers have a fan base that goes well beyond. Like I know that the Eagles have groups everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, Seahawks have groups everywhere.
So do the Packers, by the way, all over the country. My brother lived in San Diego. He's a huge Packer fan. They had a bar that held like 1,000 people. Every Sunday he'd go there.
Well, maybe because that's where they all go. They all move to San Diego afterwards.
Maybe, but I think they have
after losing their team,
good following across the country.
Yeah, the Chargers have a really good fan base. They're very passionate. I mean, they're all traveling from San Diego up to LA to go watch them play.
You know,
all 12 of them.
No, we're doing that.
Well, the Raiders are the one that I really omitted that I probably shouldn't have. That as I think about it, because you're right. In 3 cities, 3 hometowns, they've had rabid support now. So that's saying something, right?
And back in the day, I think it was more. You saw the more support just for the colors.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So, the Raiders definitely in that in that conversation. But the Chiefs fans, the reason I had put them up in there was because of they do travel, they do go around, but that stadium feel there at home is just kind of, is unlike anything that you will ever see if you've never been there. It's pretty fun. I mean, the outside, the fans, they're football fans. So it goes both ways. They're very friendly. They're good to go along with. The stadium is very old.
I'm going to put a future vote in for the London Jaguars.
Ooh.
I disagree with that. Because I know of an Eagles London-based group. I know of a Seahawks London-based group. I don't even know of a Jaguars London-based group.
Well, they're going to be playing their games there pretty soon. Yeah.
Maybe.
How foolish would that be? Do you really think that, and I know we don't have a lot of time left, but to switch to another topic, but do you think the NFL should be expanding into, England?
No.
I agree.
I think they should have.
It's never going to work.
I think they can have another league over there.
Yeah.
I think, it can be something of that realm. But as far as taking away somebody from their home here, even the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't think that's good for the
scheduling will never work,
That's what I would want. You know what? I would expect that from the XFL.
Yeah.
Like you have the XFL, have them have 12 teams and have them one in Mexico City, one in Montreal, one in London, like that. Like make it a global thing.
Well, what was the
And
name of
then
the league that did that? We had a league that did that. What was it?
the World League,
Was
World
that the
Football
name
League,
of
the
it?
WFL.
Yeah, the European League.
European
Well,
League, maybe they called
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner played over there.
Right.
Right, but that was all within Europe.
Yeah,
That was
correct.
the
Yeah,
Frankfurt guys and
yeah.
Frankfurt
The
and London
Dragons
and Barcelona and stuff like that, and it didn't fly.
No.
That was the
no,
problem. So
no, because those are soccer fans over there. You might have the onesie twosies and the one-offs, the NFL games, like you see the crowds going over there, but it'll sit there and they'll be grateful for it. But to try and do 8 games, I don't think it would have the same effect.
No. Plus, you'd be penalizing all these teams that got to travel over there and then play in the same division. They got to go over there every year.
well, and that's why I think that if you were going to do something like that, you'd have to do it. You'd have to keep it to like 12 markets. Literally do it and have it in, again, Mexico City, Montreal. I don't know about LA, but I bet you Vegas would be a great spot for that. Of course, I want to have one in Philly, but I doubt it. You'd probably have one in Dallas, probably have one in New York, and then, like I said, London, Berlin, and like you could even, you could even have one in like Dubai. You know what I mean? Because I bet you there would actually be some follow there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you got to
and
remember.
make it like a real world league, but you'd have to have games like every 10 days.
Yeah.
You'd have to separate. Like you could have days, you could have like each game would be on a very specific day, and we only had it on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, or just on Saturdays and Sundays during the spring and summer. Like during the dog days of baseball and the ending of their, and actually get them involved. Like so, because you can't compete with soccer over there. You're
No.
just going to lose.
Well, you got to remember. You got to remember the NFL is scouting Berlin right now as we speak for next season.
Right.
So
Because
that's
they
gonna be
did
interesting.
it. That's because the American base is there.
Yeah, that's
The
what I'm
American
saying.
base actually has a lot to do with that.
So we'll see. We'll see exactly. Instead of these guys getting into outer space, I think they should be creating something to get across the pond, just like the Concorde did. Get over there in an hour and be good.
That'd be nice.
Well, and yeah, I mean, it's realistically the reason why they don't want to do that is because it's not enough money. You know what I mean?
Oh, correct.
How do you get the teams to do that? I mean, the Concorde was great. It's 3 hours to get from New York to London.
Yep.
The problem is that they didn't want to do it. It was
Yep.
just they couldn't have it fly that often.
Well, yeah, but that's again, you would have the crowds and they would fizzle out. They would be there and they would fizzle out. I think the NFL and the sports league. I know fans here in the States, it's getting more and more popular, of course, because of last year being exempt, everybody not being able, and that's why it's more popular this season. But I think the NFL is going to explode even more the way that they're carrying themselves. And if you look, the MLB and the NHL are trying to do their drafts the same way the NFL does.
Exactly.
It's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work.
Well, it's not going to work because college hockey and college baseball isn't as big as college football.
We don't know
That's
the
the
players.
difference.
We don't know the
That's
players, so it's not a big deal, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they could do the NHL draft like that in Canada because there it plays well. It makes sense to do it like that.
I don't even think that's going to carry the water for them.
Right. But
anyways.
So anyways, that was a very fast hour as usual.
Very quick.
And we'll be back. We'll be back next week as we will prepare for the first game. Will you be you'll be talking to us from Canton?
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Awesome. Again, our most heartfelt condolences to Sneaky G and his family on the loss of his father. We wish you all the best, and we hope to see you again next week. Come back strong, like we know that you will be.
Love you, brother.
God bless.
Everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday. And go Birds!